Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Flying and Eating. Today, let's go somewhere and do something. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and today the adventure begins. We have concluded our time in Seattle, and my buddy Jesse and I, who is currently getting himself ready, are going to head up to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. So we are officially underway. Now I want to clarify exactly what we're doing because I didn't actually mention it. What we're actually going to do is something a little more unique. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going up to Point Roberts, Washington. Now, Point Roberts is an interesting little glitch of American geography. It's an enclave that's a part of the United States, but is physically attached to Canada and is only accessible via land from Canada. So in order to get to it, you have to enter Canada, drive for like 20 minutes, and then come down the other side and land in this little bit of America. Now, I thought I would talk a little bit about what the border control process is like right now. Now, I did this if you saw the Montreal video, so I won't go over all of it to that same extreme again. But basically, in order to get up there, you don't necessarily have to have a COVID vaccine, though it very much makes the process easier. You just need a negative PCR test, along with legal documentation such as a passport, a Nexus card, which is the thing I have, which is basically a fast entry card between the US and Canada. So it's mostly a Canadian program, but Americans are very eligible to get it. So I did. This homeboy here, he has never been to Canada, but he went out and got a passport pretty much just for this. So that was very cool of him to do. And we're going to go up there and just, you know, after you have your negative PCR test, you have to fill out this stupid app called ArriveCan, which I've ranted about before. Terrible app, because it wouldn't be so bad if you were just filling it out like once, but when you go repeatedly, every single time you have to fill out everything again. It doesn't retain your information, and it's just a buggy piece of crap software. And it's like, this app alone is why tourism is down in Canada, I swear. So we're just about at the border. We only have maybe like 15 minutes left. Pro tip, if you're an American and you're driving up here, gas prices in Canada are astronomical compared to America. So we're very close to the border at this point, not much left to do. Jesse's never done this, so what are you expecting? What are you afraid of? Anything like that?
I'm not really expecting much, or am I afraid? I've gone across the Mexican border, and I guess that's a little bit more tough, but just, you know, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's really not that hard if you guys have never done this before, and he'll tell you more about it once he's gone through it. But basically, traditionally, they just look at your information, they ask you a couple basic questions, what are you doing there, all that sort of stuff, and you're good to go. So we're almost there. Duty-free store. This is always a thing right before borders. We have all our paperwork. Everything's good to go. There's the end of the United States right there. The beginning of Canada. We have to put on our masks, so I better do that right now. This is the border entry point. Actually, so you can't see it super well, but you see that like crossed line right there? Right there in focus. That's what's called the no touching zone. So technically that's the border. So we are actually in Canada right now. It's just that
We just gotta wait.
we're just not officially legally in Canada, but geographically we're in
illegal
Canada.
aliens.
And with that, we are officially inside of the Maple Empire.
Wow.
So we'll talk all about it in a second, but I probably should clarify something. So, as I said, we're going to Point Roberts, Washington, which I explained briefly. The funny thing is, so we have to clear Canadian customs to get up there once, then you have to clear American customs to get into it, then you have to clear Canadian customs to get back into Canada, then clear American customs to get back into mainland Washington. So, Jesse, buddy, you're gonna cross the American-Canadian border 4 times in one day.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? So how are you feeling the fact that you're in another country? Because,
It's been a while.
dude, for me, like, I'm used to traveling, right? Like, there's this, for those who don't know, because you don't travel that much or whatever, when you go to another country, there's this random feeling of like, dude, I'm not at home. Yeah. And I no longer feel that anymore because I'm just so used to being in other places. But I'm kind of curious, like, are you feeling anything like that?
I'm feeling pretty excited not being in the U.S. It's been a long time since I've been outside of the U.S.
And that's exactly the feeling. It's this weird, like, oh man, I'm not home. I don't know how else to describe it unless you actually go. It's a cool feeling. There's my mortal enemy, Tim Hortons.
Yep.
It's the most disgusting, horrific thing ever. Also, there's Shoppers. If you're ever in Canada and you're like, oh, I need to go to a Walgreens or something like that, the Shoppers is what you're looking for. That's basically the equivalent of that. But never go to Tim Hortons.
And then it says they're hiring, which makes sense. There's actually, fun fact, there's actually more Tim Hortons in Canada than there are Canadian citizens.
Just so you realize, this is the first time you'll have ever stood on Imperial maple soil. You want to do it? Yeah, I'm filming you. This is it.
All right, here we go.
The Canadian Maple Empire. Here it goes. It's like it's like being, you know, one small step for man, one giant leap for Canadian kind.
Down. I'm officially on maple soil.
So the first thing one has to do when coming to Canada, this.
I am the Tim Hortons virgin here, so
This place is disgusting. Yeah, no, I am not a fan of Tim Hortons. I used to try these all the time in Ontario. They always made me just want to like throw up. In fact, I think the first time I did have it, I actually like almost threw up, and my friend literally did throw up. So yeah, good job.
well, we gotta try everything at least once.
Yeah, well, he has to do it. He's got to break that. Now, I hated this place, and I've had it multiple times since, and I'm always just like, nope, don't like it. But you got to do it. You got to do it. Although I was told the ones on the West Coast are a little bit better than the East Coast, so we'll see. Or he will, because I'm not doing it.
While we're standing in there, I realize it's basically a Canada version of Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, pretty much.
So here we go.
I want you to like it, but I just don't know if you will.
It tastes like Dunkin' Donuts.
In a good way or a bad way?
I mean, it's a donut.
So our next border control point has been reached. This is the Point Roberts border point. So yeah, this is one of the smallest border entries, if not the smallest border point in the United States. Port Roberts, USA. We'll see how this goes. Usually this border control is pretty easy by comparison. I remember the first time I went through this, they were just like, yeah, what? Go. It's very, very funny. We're officially back in America. I felt very bad not having freedom for so long. It's just, you know, I needed to see the red, white, and blue so I knew I was free, right,
That's
Jesse?
right.
No, all right, obviously I'm kidding. So we'll show you a little bit about Point Roberts. This is I mean, look at it on a map. I've shown you a little bit of footage of it. It is very small. It's basically like a large park. Like, you see down there at the end of the road? That's the end of it. We just entered it. Like, that's where it ends. It's very small. And we actually asked the border guard, like, hey, what's your recommendation for a restaurant? He's like, dude, there's like 2 restaurants on the island, or it's not even an island, but here, there's only like 2 restaurants. I don't even know if either of them are open.
Bald Eagle Golf Course.
Bald Eagle Golf Course.
It's
okay.
here.
Okay.
If you want your freedoms while golfing.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, the interesting thing about Point Roberts geographically, like I said, most people who live here are actually dual citizen Canadians that take advantage of the taxes. So they kind of hype up the fact that this is like this quote-unquote little free America zone within Canada, because that's kind of how it feels. But it's like Can-Am, that's the name of the gas station right there. Like, it's just this fusion of things.
$1.04 a gallon?
No, that's liters. That's liters.
Liters.
See, that's the thing, is we're in America, but it doesn't feel like it. It's like this weird combo area, and that's kind of what makes it interesting and unique. But yeah, we'll just keep kind of driving and looking at stuff, and eventually we'll show you guys that special road that is literally the border. It's just people's backyards and stuff. But yeah, if the prices throw you off, that's maybe the only time in the U.S. you will ever see the gas prices in liters is this specific little landmass, which is pretty cool. This is the marina. We only got to see this at nighttime before, but I'm telling you, this is just like a very affluent part of the country because it's really just rich Canadians living here. They all have like yachts and stuff. Like, we'll cruise around here and I'll show you. Dude, how weird is it that this is the second time I've been to Point Roberts, Washington in like 4 months?
Yeah.
I live in Chicago. I want that on the record. I live in Chicago. But look at that. They all have boats and stuff because this is the only way, without going through customs, that you can get back to the rest of the U.S. is you have to take a boat and just, you know, take it out to sea and go down to the rest of Washington. That's the only way you can get back to America from here.
It sounds cool.
It does. It's unique. Like,
really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a different type of life. Obviously, it's not mine.
If I was rich and I lived here, I would definitely have a boat just to do that.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that doesn't apply to us.
Yeah, and then that's the edge of it right there. Like that's the edge of the landmass over there. And then look at puppers. And these like beach style homes and everything. And oh yeah, no, it's a very nice area with these like cool little houses, like beachfront houses, logically. So we'll give you some good water views in a bit because it's not really avoidable. So that's a nice view of the ocean out there in the bay. Actually, all that land down there, I'm pretty sure that's all the U.S. again. It's just that it's completely separated by this. And I would go a little closer, but I don't want to like go through this guy's house in his backyard. That's just not cool. But that's a good look at it. I'll get you another shot of it soon, though. Also interesting here, in true Washington fashion, this part of the side of the border does seem like it's going to rain all the time. Unlike the Canadian side, which was nice and sunny. How do you guys do that, like Canadians? How do you keep the border like so clean like that? Boundary Bay, that's actually the name of the border crossing. You follow that street all the way up there to the left, that takes you right back to Canada. A lot of really nice houses here. Again, if it's not super clear, what really happens is that rich dual citizen Canadians that want to live in Vancouver just live on this side of the border and pay like 1/3 in taxes. And then they just cross whenever they want to go do something. Then they come back to their home, which is much, much cheaper to live in. There's some really neat houses just like buried within that. Like, look at that. Like, that's cool. And they're just kind of just buried inside of like the forestry. It's really quite cool. So this is Lily Point Marine Park. This is a true U.S. national park. At least I think it's U.S. National Park. It seems to be run by the Parks Department. Anyway, so there's like, you know, the little huts to go peeing, and then there's like tours, and there's walkways and everything. It's forestry, but it's, you know, in the way the U.S. national system does it. So we're gonna go on and do a little walk, and I'll show you guys a nice little view. I made this mistake the first time. Like, we parked over there, and there's like a walkway that goes that way. Don't do that. Just walk around this way, and you'll get right to the scenic view immediately. It was a huge mistake we made last time. And then it goes down there as well. So I thought I would take a second and tell you a little more of the history of how this place even came into existence. So if you were ever in school in the U.S. history class, they probably taught you the slogan 5440 or fight. Basically, I forget which administration it was, but at one point, the U.S. thought the U.S.-Canadian border should basically be where Alaska ends currently. But the British thought the northernmost point of California should be the modern-day border between the two. And so we almost went to war, but both parties didn't really want that because the British had lost previous wars to us, and we didn't want to do it because we had just fought a bunch of wars and we didn't think we could win another one. So they ended up compromising and drawing that straight line that is the modern day border. And when they did that, they just drew it across the map, not realizing how much of the map would actually create glitches. Victoria Island was big enough that they saw it and they said, okay, just don't do that. We'll just draw a line around the water. It's fine. But this particular thing where Jesse and I are standing right now was so small, no one noticed it when they drew the line across. And then after they realized it, the two were like, I guess that's just how it is. There's this little glitch of America basically stuck in Canada. And that's how we get what we got. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So this is the edge of it. Again, that's America out there, separated, and then Canada would be way over there. But this is a very cool spot, and it shows on the map, you know, kind of where we are and all the history of it. So this is where we are. That's the boundary like I was talking about. And down here, this is the rest of Washington. So when you look out, you're seeing all of this. Unless you look way to the left and you can see more of Canada. But when we got here, we basically crossed here and just had to drive up all the way over that and get right back here. And then when we leave, do it again. So as we were walking along, a couple of women came up on horses. And I just asked them, like, hey, you guys from here? And they were like, well, she is. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Any restaurant recommendations? And they're like, nothing is open. Every single thing is closed. They're like, you can get food at the gas station. We're like, yeah. So I think our attempt to eat something in Point Roberts probably won't pan out. We could go to the gas station to see if they have anything. Yeah. But I think we'll probably just go back to Canada and get food there. So according to Google, on this little street, there's some sort of bakery here. So we're going to see if we can find it. Sunrise. Sunrise. Okay, all right. It's supposed to be like the Sunrise Bakery. Unless this is just like some lady's house. In which case it's not really a bakery. It might just be somebody's house.
Private drive.
All right, never mind. We failed. What is it with being near Canada and having Google say somebody's house is a restaurant or a store? This happened to me in Montreal. Rob and I were like, oh, a game store. And it was just some guy's house because he sells games online. So right here is Bayview Drive. And this is along the edge of the coastline the entire time of what coastline there is. And that will take us eventually to Roosevelt Way. We were wrong about the name about that. I apologize. But that is Roosevelt Way is the border, is the actual border between the United States and Canada. So as you'll see, on the American side, it's just a street. And on the Canadian side, it's just Canadian backyards. And they have this really nice like fence system. You'll see. All right, so right here is the beginning of Roosevelt Way. So if you slow down for me, Jesse. Roosevelt Way here. This is the American-Canadian border. You see that guy's Canadian flag? That's the Canadian side. So literally, these bushes that you're seeing right here, that is Canada. You could illegally get down there. We were not going to do that. But this, again, no joke, like this side of the street that you're seeing is Canada. We are still in America. On the right side of the concrete, though, like right here, these fences, this entire fence system, that is Canada. So it's just Canadian backyards. Let me pull out a little bit here for you. But yeah, you take a nice look all along the Canadian border as we drive along here. Bushes, border fence. Yeah, like literally they have a border fence. Like there it is. See the big concrete things? Stop, Jesse. Stop. Back up a little bit. So right here, these are the original, like, well, I don't know if these are original, but these pillar things. Yeah, there you go. Go a little closer, please. Right here, guys, this is the international boundary. So when they were originally laying these out across the country, these are all over the country between the two. These were laid out, like the original ones, like in the 1800s and stuff. But here they're extraordinarily obvious because you have no choice. But yeah, on that side of the pillar is Canada, this side's America. So, I mean, technically, you can go as far as that pillar, and legally, you can't go beyond it. So we have the American side right here, and on that side, no joke, is actual Canadian geese. Please tell me that's not like the funniest thing you've ever seen. They're actually right there on the border, and they're not crossing over. Come on, man. That's pretty funny. That's amazing. Remember before how we were talking about the no touching zone? That's why that's like dug out like that, is because that's what that is. That's that you can't go there, like legally speaking anyway. But yeah, again, this is, I just think, one of those little oddities that's so neat. And like, look at this. You have this thing that extends out, and the U.S., it ends at the street because the U.S. did its half of cleaning that up, but the Canadians didn't do their half. I mean, there you go. These are the oddities that arise with such geographical glitches. So, of course, this is the actual border control. It's not accessible from the Roosevelt Street, so you have to go around a different way. But we'll be going right through there in a couple of minutes because, again, America, Canada. America, Canada. All right, guys. Border crossing number 3. All right, we have cleared customs again, and we're heading over to, I want to say, Coquitlam. Which those is the way to Richmond. These are all the little Canadian cities around Vancouver. Tomorrow our plan is to return back here because that's what we do. So we've arrived. We're going over there, but there's a few places in this little strip mall that I think have to be mentioned. We've got Unforgettable, Pizza 64, and Hemp Hooray. But here it is, the Bombay Sweets and Indian Cuisine. It doesn't look like they have a sit-down situation. We'll see. But if they don't, we'll just do takeout and we'll just eat in the car. They basically told us like coming back in like 20 minutes, which is totally fine. There's actually a Safeway, oddly enough. Like I'll show you in a minute. Safeway, an American chain. It's really kind of surprising to see one up here. We're just going there for like drinks and just some exploring of like Canadian foods and things like that. But anyway, yeah, the food smelled ridiculous in there.
You walked in and it smelled like a Indian house kitchen.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
So just so we can say it now while I remember exactly what we got, we each got the same thing. I got a Matar Paneer with coconut rice and a side of paneer pakora. We both got exactly the same thing. So I'm really looking forward to it. That's my coconut rice, and that is going to have to go in my Matar Paneer. What are your first thoughts?
It smells amazing.
Yeah, I
can't wait to dig into this.
Yep. So I mixed some rice in, so that's pretty much what you're supposed to do. Ideally, you'd have more like a real bowl or something, but this is what we got to work with. And he's just sitting there like sipping on yours.
That's happiness. That makes my tummy amazing.
Oh man,
Okay, yeah. This is really good stuff. Lori and Mitt knew what they were talking about. I mean, my gold standard, again, it is Matar Paneer. If you can do that right by me, you're a good Indian restaurant. This is a good Indian restaurant. I still have to give the prize to the UK. They're on a different level. But this is definitely the best one I've ever had in Canada, and probably the best one I've ever had in North America. Like, I think this is better than that OM Fusion place I used to go to in Madison, Wisconsin. This is really very good. Yeah, after you let it sit in the rice a little bit, the flavor, you know, the rice kind of does its job. It absorbs liquid, and all the flavors just blend. Oh, it's fantastic. I know a lot of Americans kind of don't really eat Indian food much, which is craziness in other countries because Indian food is sublime. The problem in the U.S. is just that Indian food in the U.S. is at best mediocre.
It's like Chinese food. You got the real, and then you got the Americanized version.
And then you also have varying degrees of quality. This is pretty good. But if you've never had Indian before, like, you're missing out. Like, it's scientifically speaking, like, the combination of flavors is like, there's a chemistry to it, and it's consistently rated like one of the best, if not the best, at it because of the way it works. It's just, when it's done especially really well like this, it's really it's great. So now what we have here is our paneer pakoras. So basically, this is like the little cheese that was in the Matar Paneer. It's paneer, right? But pakoras are fried. So you can kind of think of this as like Indian fried cheese curds. And he's never had these before. And I know you like your cheese curds, because I remember we had those in Forks, Washington once.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they come with these little sauces, too. I kind of forget what these taste like, to be totally honest with you. But they're dipping sauces, and you just kind of go in there. Or you can just eat them as is. So
I'm going to try it as is.
So Jesse got the Barks spiced cherry. Go for it, man.
Very cherry. Wow.
I think it tastes kind of like a Dr. Pepper almost. What do you think?
No.
No? What do you think?
It's definitely a cherry soda.
Okay.
It's very good. Very cherry.
So we're about to cross back into the U.S. And then head down to Seattle and get some sleep. But this is going to be actually the 4th time we have crossed the U.S.-Canadian border in about 7 hours. So you can see that thing back there? That's actually called Peace Arch. That's like the westernmost border between the U.S. and Canada, other than Point Roberts and, of course, you know, Alaska. But mainland, you know, this is it. Like right here is the ocean, and here is Peace Arch. So this is one of the more famous borders. And you can see the flags on top. I know it's nighttime. But right here, look at this. Oh, you see that color divide? That's the concrete color divide. Is you've switched countries. We're now back in the United States. But of course, we have to clear customs, so I need to put the phone down. What did you think of Point Roberts?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the little houses. Yeah, it's pretty slow paced. I don't like that there's nothing open right now.
Yeah, that really sucked. We really were trying to support them, but there was just nothing there. So anyway, yeah, if you could do me a favor, if you ever want to check that place out, by the way, just keep in mind that Border Control thinks it's really strange to choose to go there. So they're like, why would you do that? So they don't really believe you, so they ask you a lot more questions than they normally would. But except for the Americans entering it. They don't care. The Canadians care.
The Canadian side was a little bit tougher than the...
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what we're going to do now is continue on our adventures throughout Vancouver and British Columbia, and we recommend that you know, you check those out if you could. Please go in the description of this video. Follow us on all the social media stuff, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, all that sort of thing. Subscribe to this channel, you know, comment below, and of course hit that like button. I'm always appreciating that. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Jesse, for driving, and we'll see you all later.